Hello everyone, welcome. I have a double page scrapbook layout for you today. I'm going to be documenting these photos of a trip to Vancouver with my creative design team friends. And these particular photos are us just kind of cruising around exploring Vancouver, and lots of laughs happening on this day. We had picked up our rental car, we were driving to our Airbnb, and just some fun photos. I actually have a few more. They're just over on the printer, printing out as we speak. I have the Tags to Go collection. This is a new online release from Stampin Up, and it's a travel themed collection. And I think it's going to be fun with the bright colors because like the pinks and the umbrellas, and we have a lot of colorful, images in the background here and pinks in the photo. So I think it's going to lend itself well. Plus, it's travel icons. This is the coordinating stamp set, and there is a die set, which you've probably already seen me using these keys on a few other projects, but we've got luggage tags, and the keys coordinate, of course, with the theme. You can see there's a key paper here, but we have on the paper, we've got luggage tags and then just some different patterns. There's this map, which is one of my favorites. I'm actually going to use that today. Little luggages that you could totally fussy cut out and use those as embellishments, and just some really fun patterns. Some smaller luggage tags. This one here has geotags on it, and some have circles and some have hearts in the center. More travel icons, lots of good stuff here. These you can, of course, use this side, or you can cut these out for journaling cards, layering bits, all sorts of fun things. So let me scoot these out of the way here. There's some fun puffy stickers too. I'll show you those in a moment. I am actually going to be using one of our sketches from the Creative Design Team books, so this layout should come together pretty quickly. Here are the other little goodies that go along with this. This is a pack your bags is what this one's called, and you can see the colors of twine coordinate with the papers. And then these little puffy stickers are so cute. You've got geotags and arrows, little kind of postage stamp. I love to use arrows like this, little chevron arrows and stars. And there's two. You get 2 sheets of all of those puffies. So those will be fun to play with. Here is a look at my inspiration sketch, and this particular sketch is from Volume 2 of the Creative Design Team 12 by 12 sketchbook. So you can see we've got 3 photos on each. I'm going to change that up just a bit, but I love all of the paper layers in here. So this is what I'm using as my jumping off point and what helped me to print my photos. So I like to do that, just kind of find a sketch that will work with my photos, whether I have portrait or landscape, can they be cropped into a square? And of course, I'll show you different ways to make this work when your photos aren't the exact orientation that the sketch suggests. Earlier, I mentioned wanting to use this pattern paper on this layout, and then I love this one with the geotags. It brings in the pink, and it's perfect for travel. This one reminds me of a city map. If you look at the sketch design, there's really 3 main papers used. This is the same across the center, and then this darker piece would be the same on both sides, and then this one would be the same. So you have photos mainly over this, and then this one on the outer edge is just a hint of it. You don't see a whole lot of that pattern. So that kind of helps me to make my decisions when considering what paper to put where. I want to select a third pattern here, and I already have, a lot of pink and a lot of green. So I kind of want to bring in some of these travel icons, and I'm thinking maybe this one or this one. The suitcases are cute, but I don't know if you'll see, excuse me, enough of that pattern to really be able to tell they're suitcases. Since just a bit is peeking out, you want something smaller scale, unless of course you put that piece on top. I know I want this one in the middle. It's my favorite, and I really want to use that one. So then we have these 2 pieces on the side, right? So just playing around here, you're only, again, going to see a little bit of that paper. So you can kind of tell those are luggage tags. That works. I like that one. Let's try this one here. That's really fun. That brings in the travel icons, and you've got these little like winding, like your path you took, and cameras and the globe. And I think that you see enough of that paper. And again, it brings in, we've got the greens and it brings in more colors, which will allow me to bring in more colors with my embellishing. Now you could flip-flop this if you want a smaller scale pattern on the outside where you're going to see more of it. You could, do something like that, but then you have to consider your photos. So if your photos are on a busier background, are they getting lost? I kind of think they are. I think they look better on this smaller scale pattern. So that's why I would select that one as my option for what you're seeing directly behind the photos, as opposed to flip-flopping them. And again, yes, you see more of this really cute pattern, but the photos are the star of the show. So you want to make sure that they are the focal point and that the pattern papers just complement them. I like both of these. So let me grab that one. Sometimes this will help me decide also, if you're considering two different papers, what's on the back side. I really like the geotags, so I think I want to preserve those, as to where this is cute, but it's more of a neutral pattern, and that one is better suited for travel. So that decides it for me. I am going to cut these down according to the sketch, and I'll be right back. I did follow the measurements on the sketch very closely, except from this one. I altered it just a bit. I made it a little bit taller so that we could see more of the pattern and take in those fun travel icons. Otherwise, I followed it pretty closely and I love it. I use a ton of sketches. I reuse sketches over and over again. They save me so much time and I get more scrapbooking accomplished, right? That's a win-win. And I like that on this pattern paper here we can see like the globe and the map, and over here we have the little travel signs, and you see your little squiggly path, and we see some different icons. I think that's really fun, and we're seeing enough of that pattern to appreciate it. I am going to ink up the edges, but I want to bring my photos back in and just make sure everything looks good before I do that. So love this photo, definitely one of my favorites, this one here. And again, I'm following the sketch design for the placement here. Now this one I changed up just a bit because they have two 4x6s and I used the space to have two portrait orientation 3x4s. So I'm following the footprint of the design, but I was able to accommodate more photos. And same thing for over here. If you had two landscape 3x4s, you could definitely make that adaptation very easily. I'm going to ink up all of the edges with charcoal because I just want a little hint of color to separate these patterns where they are overlapping. And I'll probably do my photos too. Now they're printed with a white border. That'll just give them even more definition. As I mentioned, we were in Vancouver and this was our very first day, and we drove to the Airbnb, got ourselves settled, and then decided to drive back into town to find a place to eat dinner. So in the pictures with the parking meter, it was so funny because Julie and Chelsea were kind of like, all right, you guys are from Canada, so you know what's going on. So they dealt with all of that type of thing. And it was just really pretty to walk around in the city. We walked just a few blocks really, but there was some photo ops, these beautiful glass like sculptures that you saw in the photo a moment ago. And it was just really exciting to be there. Now I want to show you, I did gut out this piece of paper so I can save that. There was no sense in hiding it. I did the same on the opposite side as well. So now we can bring back in the photos here. Now we can start the fun embellishing process. I do have this sheet of pocket cards here. The other side is a pattern, but you do get two sheets of each. So if you want to use one for the pocket cards and the other for the pattern, you totally can. That way you don't have to pick which one. You can do one of each. I am cutting out this green one here and then the second one here with the luggage on it. I think either one of these would work nicely for a journaling spot. So I want to put that in the upper right hand corner, and this one's kind of, it's too big I think for the space. It looks a little funny with the photo. I could cut it down, but let's try this one here. Yeah, I like that. That looks better. There's no sense in hiding that little suitcase though that's underneath my photos, so I am going to trim that off and then I can use that for another project. Stay tuned. I am going to show you a fail-proof tip for printing on your pocket cards. So save that. We'll put this right here for now. In the sketch design, we have the title right under this 4x6 photo, and I am doing a little stash busting. So this is the Close to My Heart annual catalog from 2024, and they have these acrylic titles. So memories, happy, the best, life, all sorts of things you can mix and match. And I'm like, yeah, sweet, because look at these colors. They're perfect. So I wanted to point this out in case, I know many of you have these in your stash. The orange, the blue, yellow, teal, and pink all coordinate with this particular paper collection perfectly. So sometimes we forget what we have, and I wanted to remind you guys. And if you don't have these, you could easily just use your die cut, your alpha dies, and create something similar. I wanted to use Sweet Memories, but I think Memories is going to be a bit too long for this space, so I kind of want to use the word sweet because I won't have many opportunities to use that one. So maybe we could do the Sweet Life. Let's try that. I went ahead and tried to see if I could make this fit. It does. I'm overlapping the photo a bit, but there's really nothing important in the photo. The focal point is these really cool glass flowers. So it works, but I'm going to try a few other options. Here's another option, the Sweet Life, and I like it. I think I'm going to go with that one. And again, I just want to show you, if you don't have these acrylic titles, you could mix and match alpha dies. These are the mini alphabet dies, so you could use these for the smaller and then have your big focal word with something like the alphabet a la mode and get two different fonts. It's always fun to mix and match fonts. I am going to go ahead and get these attached to the layout. I've got my T-square ruler to help me line them up and mini glue dots. These are my favorite way to attach acrylic pieces. I think they're really strong. I've never had them come off. You can use glue, but I do prefer the glue dots. I won't make you watch the whole process. We'll just do a little bit. Now, if you're a detective, you may have noticed the photo in the upper left-hand corner. We're wearing different outfits. That's because it was taken on a different day. But that picture didn't really belong with any other photos, and I wanted it in the album. So since it's in the same location and we're kind of doing the same thing, I added it to these. On the back of this map paper, you have these jumbo tags, which you could fussy cut out and use them for journaling or housing smaller embellishments, using it to kind of anchor those little clusters. So I hate to cut into this one, but we do have a little bit left over from this piece, and there's enough of those tags. So I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut these out, and they're super easy to cut because they're fairly straight lines. They are a little bit wonky, so I'm going to leave a little bit of a white border around the outside rather than cutting on the actual black line. So we'll just zip around these. I don't want to introduce the yellow. Even though I have yellow in my photos, it's not really, when it's in the pattern paper, it's not a dominant color. So I kind of want to avoid that tag and maybe use one of the other tags here. This is one of those paper collections where you have a lot of embellishing opportunities within the paper itself. You've got the tags, there's the luggage paper, and then the pocket cards. So I went ahead and fussy cut all of those, and you could use a smaller one. We could even kind of stack them together. This one fits here really well, so I want to use that one. And maybe over here. That's kind of cute. I like that. We can kind of nest these together. And let's put the orange one on the bottom. I do really like that. We could also possibly put the little tags maybe up top here. I already adhered these down, so let me grab my Cricut spatula. I love using tags. You could put the date on here. You could put little kind of word sentiments. I don't like that there. It seems kind of random. Maybe over here. Nah, it's going to be random too. Let's go back to our original spot and stick with that. Now, along with my embellishment clusters, I love to bring in like little word sentiments. So there is a coordinating stamp set, Tags to Go, and I love this one. Today marks an adventure. And this was our first day being there, so it's kind of perfect. I've got Shy Shamrock, and I've already stamped it on or mounted it on a block. Let's go ahead and practice a few times. That's looking great. I keep pre-cut circles in my little sentiment bin right there. And these are from the Spotlight on Nature die. I call it the paper plate die because it has that edge around it. Sorry, I'm off camera. I'm just kind of cleaning up the edges of that stamp. I was a little bit heavy-handed. Let's stamp right in the middle. And that looks good. We'll go ahead and scoot this out of the way. Let me close this up before I have a whoopsie. And then I want to build this up and kind of layer it over the photo here. But it needs a little definition. So I have a punch here. This is the 2-inch punch. And this is Strawberry Slush cardstock. This is brand new. This color's not released yet. Apparently it's kind of a bring back my color, if you will. It was a color of the year many years ago and they brought it back. So that will be released in May. I am using a small hole punch from my stash to punch a little hole in the tag so we can add some twine. And then we have the 3 coordinating colors. I think I want to go with green since my tag is blue and it's on a pink background, so green will stand out a little bit better. Let me cut off just a little bit there. We'll loop it and then I'm going to feed it through the tag here. You know what? My friend Janice always uses these crochet hooks and oh no, my hole's not big enough. That's okay. You get the idea. You put the crochet hook through, grab the thread, and it works so well. So let me just kind of run this back through itself, and there you go. The sentiment "today marks an adventure" would be great for a title too. Titles do not have to be big and bold on your layouts. I do tend to like them that way, but they don't always have to be that way. But in this case, it's kind of just a subtitle or part of the embellishment cluster. So I'm going to pop that up on some 3D foam tape, but let's add some of our fun little puffy stickers. There's arrows. I think I want to do a little cluster or a line of these little chevrons. My friend Katie turned them the other way, and then they can be used as hearts too. They kind of look like little puffy hearts. So either way, an arrow or a heart, you can add these to your layout for a little texture. I'm excited with all of the progress I'm making on this album. So I'm doing a whole little album for this particular trip to Vancouver, and I still have a long ways to go, but I am getting the layouts done and really enjoying the process. So I have these acrylic shapes from Close to My Heart, and this I thought would be cute. It matches perfectly. And then I added twine over here, and I want to add maybe another puffy sticker. These are little postage stamps. That's cute. Now, this is really cute. So we have a bunch of keys and tags in here, and this is a key ring. So let me show you what this looks like. I have Melon Mambo, and I am using the other sentiment here. This one says, "Life's detours are better with you," and I thought that was fun. That didn't turn out. Let me stamp that one more time. I had kind of smeared it. So we are going to cut the tag shape out here and make like a key ring. So, and I'll cut this from silver foil paper. So I've got a couple keys, my little keychain, I guess you'd call it here, or key tag. I'm cutting a slit in the keys. And then we're going to use the puffy circle. So again, there's a die that does the same look, but I thought it'd be fun to use the puffies. So I cut the slit so I can kind of slide it onto my key ring. If I were using the die, I probably would have put the cut in the die and then hid the slice underneath the key. I want this set of keys over here by us in the minivan, our rental car. So it was so fun piling all of us into the van, and I thought this would go along perfectly. But, you know, I kind of want it attached to the other cluster. Let's see if we can lift up our little postage stamp. It is kind of damaging the paper underneath, but I think my keys will hide it. So let's see how that looks. Yeah, that looks great. Maybe we can put our postage stamp up here. I'm going to commit to the keys, and then we'll add this right to the top here. Those keys are so cute. I went through my travel stamps and found this one, and the phrase "travel" with a little arrow. I wanted something kind of up top above where my journaling is going to be. So let me practice just a few times, make sure that is stamping nice and crisp. And then we will line this up in the upper left-hand corner. I got a little bit on my block. Sorry, I'm off screen there. Always check your block, always. And you will be happy when you catch the ink before transferring it to your project. So line this up, give it just a moment, and yeah, that looks great. Let me slide this back into frame. We'll set this here for now, and we can start working on
our journaling. Let me close my ink pad up here.
Now my handwriting's a bit too big to fill out everything I wanted to say in this space. So here's a little trick for printing on pocket cards or something that's pre-designed like this. So I measured this and it came out to about, I easily have 2 inches by 3 inches. So I opened up a Word document. I use Pages because I'm a Mac user, and I sized my paper to 4 by 6 because this is 4 inches wide. So that makes it easier for me to get this, to fit nicely. And I put in a text box and made my text box 2 by 3, and I bumped it down just a little bit to accommodate for this. Now I printed this out on printer paper so that we can see if it is going to print in the right place. So I like how the spacing is. I know it's probably harder for you to see. I like how this spacing is from the edge there, and we've got plenty of room over here, and it's okay if it went over the little dotted line on the bottom, but it's too tight up against the word travel. So I want to go back over to my Word document and drop that down just a little bit and try again. Okay, I flipped the paper over. I did put an X on the side that I wasn't happy with, just so I don't get confused. I did, since I had plenty of room over to the right, I did bump that down and over just a smidge. So let's line it up with our paper, and that is going to work perfectly. So now what we can do is take this same paper and some removable glue dots, and you really don't want this to move as it goes through your printer. So I am going to be kind of generous with these, and you really just need them towards the top because once the printer grabs it, it is going to take it. So if it makes you feel better, you can add one towards the bottom, but this is, I think, going to be sufficient. Make sure those are good and connected together. And now we can print one more time and run this whole piece through our printer, and it's going to come out perfectly. And there you have it. Our journaling is perfectly placed on this card and looks really nice and tidy. So I'm going to peel the practice paper away gently. These glue dots are very strong, so you don't want to rip it at this point. And then we can adhere this to our layout. You can run your pocket cards through the PictureMate. I have 2 printers. I have a PictureMate 400 that I use for my photo printers, and then I have an Epson, I believe it's a 970, which is like an all-in-one office type printer, scanner. It is a photo printer, and it actually does a nice job printing photos, but I do prefer my PictureMate. So I do get asked if I print journaling on my PictureMate, and yes, sometimes. So when I am traveling, if I'm going to a retreat, and I always take my PictureMate printer, even if I'm flying, and I will use it then for my journaling. If I'm home, I would rather save all of that ink for photos, and I'll use my other Epson home office printer for printing my journaling. But I have used the PictureMate 400 in just this same way, and it works very well.
Let me hold this up so I can point out a few details I added off camera. So to kind of reflect those glass flowers, I added some acrylic orange flowers and the green heart. Aren't those umbrellas fun? Such a cool little thing all hanging from the sky there. So I added another acrylic flower over here by the suitcase. I added the twine to the tags, and I love how everything's working together down there to create that little travel themed cluster. I think my journaling looks super nice and tidy, and I love how that turned out. There they are. It was so funny, them trying to figure out the parking meter. As always, I have all of the supplies listed in the description box below. And if you are looking for more tips on adding journaling to your scrapbook layouts, you're definitely going to want to check out these videos right here. Thanks so much for spending time with me today, and I hope you have a wonderful day.